Oh, thanks, Mike, for mentioning it. Rave reviews this morning in the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Philadelphia Daily News. Rarely did those two newspapers rave about anything regarding Frank Rizzo, or do they ever agree about anything. But in this case, the play Rizzo, based on my book, which is at Theater Exile, and you can go on theaterexile.com to get tickets or call the box office. It's publicized all over the place. It's doing great. First 8 shows are sold out, and we are now working on week number 2, and hopefully it'll continue. It's getting great reviews. But I agree with you, Mike. I think the context of this season will be Chip Kelly's decision to massively overhaul the offense, and how quickly this offense gets together or doesn't get together is going to be on the coach. It's right on him. And right now, I think this is the problem when you have the coach and the GM are the same guy. Right now, the coach is trying to prove that the GM got it right, and it's holding this team back. They are forcing the ball to DeMarco Murray when anybody and everybody can see Ryan Matthews is the better back. And they're staying with Sam Bradford despite the overwhelming evidence that Sam Bradford can't do the basic things that a quarterback's supposed to do for his football team. He's supposed to advance the ball on third down. He is the worst starting quarterback on third down. And he's supposed to put his team in the end zone. And he's got 4 interceptions in the end zone, which leads the National Football League. And I think time is running out for Sam Bradford. I think patience is real thin for Sam Bradford, not only in the fan base, but I think there are rumblings and whispers around the team that he's got to improve, and he's got to stop the turnovers because he's holding this team back.
That's really interesting, and that term right there, holding the team back, Sal, that's why I think they made the move in the first place. They thought Foles was holding them back, no?
Yep, and they thought Sanchez couldn't provide the answer. But it's pretty interesting, Mike, and this is something that I've gone over with you the last 2 weeks, and I'd like to continue this conversation because I know your listeners are tuned in to the kind of study that we do at ESPN and we do at the NFL Matchup Show. So there's indisputable evidence that Chip Kelly is learning his lesson on certain levels with this offense. He's running the ball to close out the game in the fourth quarter. He is slowing down the offense in the fourth quarter to keep his defense off the field. I think he had a come-to-Jesus moment after losing to Washington, and his defense was on the field too long, and they ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. Now, let me give you these numbers to back this up. Average time of possession per play. In the first quarter against the Giants on Monday Night Football, average time of possession per play was 16.4 seconds. In the fourth quarter, average time of possession per play, more than double, 35.3 seconds. And that is the highest that Chip Kelly has ever had, the average time of possession per play. He is deliberately slowing down the offense when he didn't do it in the past to try to keep his defense off the field in the fourth quarter, not concerned with scoring, but concerned with preserving his defense. Here's another example. The pass-run ratio. In the first quarter against the Giants, they ran the ball 20% of the time. In the fourth quarter, they ran it 77% of the time. So 3 out of every 4 plays in the fourth quarter were called run plays. He's slowing it down. He's eating clock when he never did that before. So he has changed the offense. The question is, will he change the quarterback?
It's a good question, and I'll ask you, Sal. I mean, they got a bye coming up next week. Is this a do-or-die type of week for Sam Bradford? And does Chip Kelly owe it to this defense to at least consider it if he plays the way he did against the New York Football Giants?
Oh, there's no question about it. It's do or die. People are always saying to me, well, it's only 9 interceptions, and they are 3-3, and they have a share of the division lead. And I say they could be better off if they didn't have a quarterback who turned the ball over. Now, is Sanchez that answer? Hasn't been in the past, but I think some way, somehow, you have to get Bradford's attention. You have to say to him some way, somehow, either through words or actions, this cannot go on. And how many interceptions are enough, Mike? Is it 12? Is it 15? Where do you draw the line in the sand and say, that's it, you're out, you're on the bench, whether it's permanent or punitive, you're off the field, and we're bringing in Sanchez, giving you an opportunity to take a step back, assess what you've done this season, what you haven't accomplished, and we're not going to let you dictate to us. Because when you look at it, he doesn't have a contract for next year. He's turned his back on an extension, said he's betting on himself. And so far, I don't see the investment emotionally or production-wise in the future of this team from this quarterback.
Sal Pal Friday, I thought last week when we discussed, the fact that he had said Eli was in the second year and that maybe that was something, foreshadowing for Sam. Do you think that he has gone out of his way to protect Sam Bradford?
Oh, I think there's no question about it. This was his big off-season move. This is how he will be defined. He will be defined by trading McCoy for Kiko Alonso and acquiring Matthews and Murray and spending all that money on Murray. And so far, I hate to say it, but you give him a D- on that one, don't you?
Pretty much. I mean, the Murray thing certainly hasn't worked. And as you mentioned earlier, and you mentioned it last week, that Matthews clearly looks like the better fit.
And Kiko Alonso can't stay on the field, which is something they were concerned about.
Yep.
So that's one. So he'd be defined by that. And it'll also be defined by, listen, we can all agree, Foles for Bradford is probably a wash. You look at their numbers, they're similar. I think Foles is right above Bradford in terms of the rankings of starting quarterbacks, in terms of quarterback rating. Foles has fewer interceptions. Bradford has more yards passing. But they have around. I think Foles has 6 touchdown passes. Bradford has, 7? Foles has 5 interceptions. Bradford has, I believe, 9. So, I mean, to me, I think it's a situation where you could say it's a wash, Foles for Bradford, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you throw in that second-round pick, Mike, it's hard to justify the trade for Bradford.
There's no doubt. Now, you could say that in hindsight, but at the time, do we agree that they thought that Foles took them as far as they could go and that this was a swing worth taking? I likened it, Sal, to when the Sixers got that playoff victory, but then they made the trade for Bynum because they knew that team had gotten as far as they were going to go. Let's take a swing. Now, they missed. They missed with Bynum, but they took a swing and people were on board. Is this akin to that?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to beat the Carolina Panthers.
Well, they did it last year pretty easily, right?
Let's just say they beat the Panthers, and I think they will beat the Panthers. I'm supposed to win this game, 24-20. And I think the Eagles will beat the Panthers. And let's just say they beat the Panthers and Bradford plays well. Then you're good to go. You're all right. If they beat the Panthers and he throws 2 or 3 more picks and they just slide through with a narrow victory, then you have to make an assessment at some point about Bradford because you got the bye week. Now, Mike, if their defense plays lights out and the rest of the offense plays well, the run blocking is there, and the Sam Bradford loses the game with 2 or 3 picks, what do you do, Mike?
I came on Tuesday and said he owes it to him to make at least consider it. Because right now, Sal, to me, he's not considering it because Chip Kelly, the GM, is telling Chip Kelly, the coach, he can't. But if it's another night like it was against the Giants, I think he's got to consider it. He's got to do it. His defense plays well again. He owes it to them to make a switch. And if you're saying the whispers in the locker room aren't buying the quarterback, they got to make a change.
No, I'm saying around NovaCare. I'm not saying I've heard any whispers in the locker room.
Okay.
I'm just saying around NovaCare, I am hearing that there are people wondering whether or not how long Bradford's leash is going to be. And I wonder whether or not, in my opinion, whether or not if Bradford plays poorly and the Eagles wind up losing and he's the reason, whether or not he's got to figure out how to go forward with this quarterback. And that's a roundabout way of saying, hey, why don't you give Sanchez a shot? maybe for no other reason than to take a step back, to take a step forward with Bradford.
If they do that, can they go back to Sam? If Sanchez struggles after 2 or 3 and he's no better, can they go back to Sam, or is he done?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a chess move that I'm ready to commit to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think we're trying to figure out how the team beats the Panthers.
Right.
They're undefeated for a reason, despite the fact that they lost Kelvin Benjamin. They're undefeated because they got a superb coaching staff, and because Cam Newton went up there in Seattle and engineered against Seattle now. And we saw what they did last night against Colin Kaepernick. Against Seattle, he had 3 80-yard touchdown drives in the second half, and that nice throw to Greg Olsen to win the game. So I think in this particular this is another case where the Eagles are facing a team that doesn't have a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver who's 100%. They eliminated Odell Beckham Jr. He wasn't full throttle. You could see that. They double-teamed him. No Victor Cruz. The Eagles usually beat teams that do not have top-flight wide receivers that will torch their secondary. They're usually pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this defense will be well-equipped to handle anything Carolina throws at them. The question is, what happens when the quarterback throws a couple of picks? If that happens.
And this is the kind of matchup, Sal, see if you agree, where Cyril McDermott's no idiot. He's going to force Bradford into beating them. He's going to force them into making him make a play.
They're hard to run on. Luke Kuechly's one of the best defensive players in the league. We all know that. Great sideline-to-sideline tackler. They're hard to run on. They certainly are. Seattle found out that the hard way, and Russell Wilson couldn't throw them out of trouble. This is the same situation. And this is something that I've been harping on. On third down, your quarterback has to throw you out of trouble, and he has to get you in the end zone. That's his job. That's the moneymaker for the quarterback. If the struggles continue, I wonder if patience runs out with Sam Bradford.
Sal Pal ESPN NFL reporter. Don't forget, The Life of Mayor Rizzo is on stage, and check that out. As you mentioned, sold out. How many shows have been sold out in a row? Can my listeners get tickets somehow?
Oh, yeah, you can get tickets. There's tickets next week, and so you can go online and get it. And, we're getting great reviews, and people are coming from all over Atlantic City, Delaware, North Jersey, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg.
Awesome.
To see the play.
I did.
And there's going to be a special election night showing where we're going to have politicos from Pennsylvania and New Jersey come, and a big political discussion right before the election returns on election night. So that'll be fun.
Awesome stuff. And don't forget the book, How Football Explains America, as we're getting ready for the Christmas season, everybody. Always the football stuff. And I want to get a quick thought on you, Sal. Giants, Dallas. Dallas makes a switch here. Do they have enough to keep themselves afloat until Romo gets back?
The Giants have got revenge in their hearts from week 1. And they, of course, want to bounce back from losing to the Eagles. I like the Giants a lot in this game. It's hard to switch quarterbacks once. The Cowboys are trying to do it twice, once because of injury and the other because of a coach's decision. Matt Castle, really, Mike, I like him as a guy, but he hasn't really shown the ability to do anything at the NFL level since that one good season that he had with the Kansas City Chiefs and the one season in relief with the Patriots. So I just don't see it happening. Des Bryant's not playing, correct?
They said he's day-to-day, but I believe he's out.
Yeah, he's not playing in the game. So the Giants will do what they didn't do week 1. They will take away Jason Witten. They will look at the film of what Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, did when they went down to Dallas. They took Witten away, and they said, okay, Brandon Weeden, you beat us some way, somehow, and he couldn't do it. And that's what the Giants have to do. They neglected that week 1, and Witten killed them, especially in the fourth quarter. So this offense will go through Witten, Castle to Witten.
Sounds like Newton to Olsen. You got to stop him on Sunday night. He's Sal Pal every Friday with Sal Pal Fridays. Another great weekend of football. There's a little crisp coolness in the air. I know that makes us all enjoy it just a little bit more. Sal, we will talk to you at this time next week.
You got it, Mike.